Wow, that's going in the blooper reel for sure.
Because, you looked at me. I'm like,
you had
talking to me.
I first interpreted your look of like, I got nothing. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, I'm the idiot. Hello, welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. And joining us today, we got two special guests here who are part of this week's SMSU Theater production, Tartuffe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I had to look that one up here. I will admit here. But thanks for coming on here. We got Abby and Peter. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Yeah, great to have it. Great to be on.
Yeah, so I feel like let's before we get into the actual movie talk here, the show and everything like that, let's talk a little bit more about this show here. I feel like Tartuffe, that's not as much of a recognizable name to casual theater observers like Phantom of the Opera or something like that here.
The Book of Mormon?
Yeah, exactly.
The Book of Mormon?
That's a lot funnier if you saw 30 seconds ago before we played. Anyways, that's an inside joke, basically, that happened 20 seconds ago. But like I said, there's ones that are more familiar. Tartuffe, I feel like, is not necessarily one of them. So in your own words, without spoiling it, I feel like I was going to add that a little bit there. Yep. Kind of describe what the show is.
The show is a comedy revolving around my character Tartuffe. He gets invited into a rich man's house, Orgone, and he kind of just uses religion to weasel his way into every part of the life, whether that be, hey, I want to marry your daughter, and he's like, yes, let's do it, or hey, give me everything that you own, and he's like, yes, let's do it. It's kind of let's focus, let's get in and take all this stuff by being this religious guy.
I was going to say, you mentioned religion. I'm like, so it is the Book of Mormon.
It is.
But no, not really. But you mentioned you're kind of the title character here of this show here. So tell us a little bit about Tartuffe.
He is very much just a con man who is using religion to get what he wants. It's mentioned later on in the show that I've done this for way too long. So
it's sort of implied this is not the first rodeo.
Yeah, it
so
is.
To speak.
Yeah, this is. I've evidently been doing this for 20 plus years or something.
Oh, geez. Hopefully you should have a lot to show for it then, right?
An expert at this point here.
Yeah.
Abby, you play the character of Elmarie. Am I saying that one right?
Elmire.
Elmire. I'm just terrible at name pronunciation. That's a running theme on this show too. I'm terrible at name pronunciations. It's just what I do at this point here. So tell us about your character here in the show.
Okay, so Elmire is like the lady of the house. So she's married to Orgone. And she's really a strong character, I feel, and she's really has a great sense of self and won't take like anything from anybody, so she'll really fight for what she believes in.
Very strong, independent kind of minded character. I like that. That's pretty cool.
So she may or may not fall into his traps as easily as the guy?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I guess one other thing I want to ask you guys about the show here is, what is one factor or aspect that you would use to try and convince people to check this out?
There's a lot of physical comedies. So if like those old like Looney Tunes sketches were your favorite, or some Monty Python is in there as well, just any of that kind of spoof high physical comedy is your thing, you should definitely come and check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of really big characters in this show, and I think that's really brought out in their costumes as well. Very grateful for our costume designer.
Yeah. I
was going to say, when is this one set? Or what kind of year or decade is this kind of set?
1600s France.
Okay, so that puts in a little bit of perspective here. I feel like the earlier you get, the easier it was to be a con artist.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like, right? Like
100%.
So that's an interesting aspect of the show here as well, because I feel like sometimes we'll hear something on the news of someone falling for a scam or whatever, and we're like, in this day and age, how do you not Google something like that? But back in the day, it's like, oh yeah, I could totally believe this guy who was saying this and doing that, and I would have totally bought it. So yeah, early 600. That has not happened in a while here. So Yeah, so like I said here, that show is going to be happening this week. The show times are 7:30, I believe, correct? This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then one last chance to check it out, 2 p.m. on Sunday. Do you guys prefer doing like evening shows or matinees, or is there really a difference?
Evening shows.
Evening shows are better?
Yeah, evening shows tend to get a bigger crowd, I'd say, so I like doing those.
I just feel like, because I did a little bit of theater when I was in high school, I just feel like, you know, you're so used to doing like 3 or 4 nights in a row and you leave and it's dark outside. Then you do that at matinee and it's still like, oh, I can still catch the end of the NFL game. Like, that's just feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like when it's at night, it feels more of like an event. Like it's a big thing. And then when it's it's still good during the day, but it's just like, oh, I'm doing this and then I'm doing this.
Yeah, the matinees you always have to worry about, like strike after too, which is just a whole other thing you got to deal with.
So yeah, again, that's going to be happening here this week. Make sure to check that out. And well, let's use that to segue into our opening spotlight here. We're going to talk about some of the best imposters / con artists in movies and TV here. Didn't really put too many guidelines on this one here. We're just going to do kind of fun roundtable discussion here of who we think are some of the best con artists in TV and movies here. So I don't know. Let's just Abby, you want to kick us off here? Actually, what is one that came to what was one of the first ones that came to your mind?
One of the first ones that came to me was The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh.
That can be either from the original Wizard of Oz or it could be from Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I wish I'd thought about.
I did really like the voice and the head in Wicked. I thought it was awesome. It sounded so good. I wish they would have done more with it, but it was like a couple of lines and that was it. I was like, give me some more. That's cool.
All the effects budget went to the broom flying scenes, probably, unfortunately. I think that's an interesting pick, too, because I was almost kind of thinking of that one. I was almost leaning towards when he was back in Kansas and when Dorothy first meets her. You could argue that was because he's like a peddler who's going along the road and all that sort of stuff, too. So it's also kind of interesting foreshadowing of him being the Oz and being a fraud as well. So that's a pretty good deep cut pick right there. Peter, why don't you kick us off? What's one of the first ones you thought of?
Oh, the two main guys from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Michael Caine and Steve Martin. Those two, I love that movie. Just those two with their being ridiculous, trying to seduce all these women. Just really, really funny, great imposters characters there.
Very good, very good. And I mean, it's in the title, Scoundrels.
Scoundrels.
It's nice little. It's also one of those. I've said this before on this show. I kind of like movies where it's like the two main characters are not the good guys.
Yep.
And they're just full. Sometimes you'll see that and they're like still try to have some redemption at the end there, or whatever. I'm like, no, I like the ones where it's like, no, I'm a terrible person. And that's the fun of it here. So. Ryan, what's one you thought of here?
So I initially thought of George Clooney and the rest of the gang from the Oceans movies, Oceans 11, 12, and 13. I love those movies, the whole big heist thing. You've got so many different little, like, if they don't do the dice right, then that part loses. If they don't do the security codes right, that part loses. So that whole ensemble, I think, is just fantastic in those movies.
Yep. I love those heist movies.
Yeah.
Those ones are so much fun.
I feel like we don't think enough of how much, conniving you necessarily have to do when you're doing it. When you think of heist, you think of good just planning or whatever, but you don't think of how much lying you have to do kind of during it as much as well. So I think that's kind of an interesting aspect of it. One of the first ones I thought of here, I kind of just had a list of them here. I didn't have them in any particular order, but I'm going to go with this one here. We're going to go with Harold Hill from The Music Man.
Oh,
talk about another guy who's been doing this for a while. We don't know how many towns, or at least maybe they say, I don't remember if they say it or not. We don't know how many towns he's conned or whatever.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, he's just trying to get kids into music, and that's not a terrible thing, right? But he is trying to steal this town of all their money and all that sort of stuff, too, as well. But I don't know. My only problem with that movie is I feel like he got kind of out of it a little bit easier than he should have. Like, his method is total BS, but it works for some reason at the end there.
Yeah, I mean, in the stage musical, it shows it's a little more of a slow descent for him leaving that path of Conway. But yeah.
Let's go another round here. Peter, you want to kick us off on this one here? What was another one you thought of?
Jeff from Community. He's very much that con artist at the beginning of the show. And in all honesty, he kind of stays that way. He's very much not the con artist in the traditional sense. He's much more, I'm going to see how long I can coast off of as little work as possible. So it's more of how can I avoid the work in that kind of a sense than like I'm actually going to go out and steal or convince someone of doing something wrong.
Yeah.
This brings up an interesting question. Are some lawyers some of the best con artists out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Like, if you know your client's guilty and your whole point is, your whole job is to convince people you're not guilty, I feel like that we don't put them in that same boat enough here.
I don't know if you could say their job is to prove that they're not guilty. Their job is to provide reasonable doubt that they could be not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is OJ didn't do it?
I can't answer that question. He wrote a book about it.
And there's Nick not showing his restraint anymore. What'd you say, Carter? Sorry, I missed that.
I said if the glove fits.
Glove fits.
This is what I love about doing this show is I get these two to say things that I put in my blackmail folder and then we save it for later.
There's some pretty wild things.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Ryan, why don't you keep us rolling along here? What's another one you thought of?
I'm going off of a real life documentary of sorts. It's called Imposter. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's on Netflix. It's actually a wild movie. I saw this when it came out, probably 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe. But it's about a guy who had the word I would use would be he was addicted to pretending to be somebody else. And like, as in, oh, this kid's missing and he kind of looks like me. I can shave my hair, color my eyes, do whatever to look like that missing kid and go home and be that kid. And this is all a real story. He went to jail and like he did that a couple of times, got busted. Then he joined in with the family, but the family took him in 100% and said, yes, of course you're our kid. Yes, we love you, all that. But then other people started noticing that that's not your kid. And they were saying, no, it is our kid. Because I think in reality, the family had killed their kid. And then this guy was just came into their life wanting to be him. And they said, yes, we'll take him. So then now you can't go to jail because, and then then he eventually says, all right, I'm out of here. I lied. I'm not their kid. And I think he's buried in the backyard. Like, that's how, like, and this is all a real story. Like, it's wild. It's really interesting.
Here's a way too late warning, but spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, for any of you who wanted to watch Imposter on Netflix.
Yeah, but they like go through it and it's like, and they show pictures and it's wild.
I don't know if you can spoiler alert a documentary as much, I feel like. Most of the time, the title kind of gives it away, I feel like.
I wouldn't have gotten that from the title.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Someone dead in the backyard, imposter, I would not have.
But I would highly suggest it. It's really interesting. And it's a true story. So, and they have the guy that actually did it, like, narrating along with it. So it's wild. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm just going to quickly talk about another one here. I think sort of, I don't know if I'm going to call it an underrated comedy, but I don't think we talk about this enough comedy. Billy Ray Valentine from Trading Places. This is Eddie Murphy's character in Trading Places. He is already sort of a con man before he gets dragged into the plot. So he's already kind of doing his own thing. But then he gets pulled into this whole big other con, basically by these other rich dudes. I'm going to try to not spoil it like some people here. And then he then kind of flips it on him and does a whole other con and everything like that. So he knows his way around a good con here. And plus it's Eddie Murphy. So this was like peak Eddie Murphy. This was still 80s Eddie Murphy when he was at his funniest there, I feel like. So yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's underrated because every time I hear someone talk about it, it's always pretty high praise. I just don't think we talk about it enough here. But
yeah.
Abby, you want fill finish off this round here, what's one you were thinking about?
Another person I thought about was Dr. Brenner from Stranger Things.
Oh. Okay.
This one's kind of in a different way, but like the collecting of the children, I guess. That's how you could put it. Because I don't know if you guys have seen Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And like the fact that he just kind of conned all of the women into, basically giving them
their kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say I have not seen Stranger Things. I just know it as the 80s nostalgia show with young kids. That is something out of context there for sure. I don't know if I want to see this show more or less now, I feel like.
You want to see it more. It's phenomenal.
Okay. I know Carter up there is a big fan of it and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, you don't get the title Stranger Things without some strange things happening. But as if monsters weren't enough, my gosh, kids. That is maybe I do need to see this show now, I suppose. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. Well, those are just a few of our picks for movie and TV's best con artists. Again, if you want to see another type of character that is good at a con, make sure you check out the SMSU Theater's production of Tartuffe, happening when this comes out today, as well as Friday and Saturday, 7:30 p.m. And then your last chance to check it out will be this upcoming Sunday, April 19th at 2 o'clock p.m., all taking place at the SMSU Theater here in the Fine Arts Building on the campus of Southwest Minnesota State University.
Tartuffe. I love that name. That's a cool name.
It is a cool name. It is a cool name.
And this is a main stage production, right?
Yep.
All right.
So plenty of seats.
Perfect. Perfect.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Nerd Bracket.
Nerd Bracket, baby! It's so crazy. That is so crazy. How about we have an arm wrestling tournament over which one of those wins?
Sweep the leg!
That's a good match. That's a good match.
No! I'm ready to fight!
This is my favorite sports movie of all time.
I'm really surprised with this Final Four right now.
Welcome to Nerd Bracket.
All right, let's move on then to the weekly preview, talk about all the movies coming out here this weekend. And look, I feel like I should apologize in advance here. When I came up with the list of movies here, look, I'm just going to say this. This is some of the most potty humor I think we've had in a single weekend here.
It's pretty wild.
And I didn't realize that before I sent you guys the list, so I just want you to know this is not the norm around here. This is just a special week, and as I'm watching these trailers myself today, I was like, oh, what have I sent to them? There was a part of me that thought you might not show up because you're like, these guys are just weird.
These guys
like
are
that.
crazy.
But no, these are the movies coming out here this weekend, so not my fault, not my choice. It's just how it happens sometimes. Let's start with Wednesday, April 15th. We actually got a couple releases that day, which is a little out of the ordinary here. Both to Prime Video, both sports related. So an interesting theme here for sure. The first one we're going to talk about is Balls Up.
Balls up.
And I feel like we can't put this on the Community Access channel just by saying that right now. How do I want to navigate this one here? So you got Mark Wahlberg, Paul Walter Hauser. They sell and I'm going to try to use words here so we don't get demonetized, product that gets them to sponsor the World Cup. One thing leads to another where they accidentally sabotage the end of the championship game, and now they are on the run from basically the entire country of Brazil.
What is going on?
Dude, it's wild. It's wild. Paul Walter Hauser is hilarious. Mark Wahlberg's pretty funny. Like, hopefully it's going to be dirty, but it's going to be funny.
Yeah, it's one of those movies you're going to turn on at like 11 at night and be like,
Yeah.
I don't remember anything, but I had a good time.
But I enjoyed watching it. I had fun.
Yep.
You'll have good memories of it.
I was going to say, I don't know much about European football, but I do know how passionate those fans are. Yeah. And I do feel like if someone like me did accidentally sabotage the end of the game, they would send the might of the military like they kind of do in this. Like at one point, they're out running a tank. I don't know. Are you guys big fans of soccer, European football at all?
I played soccer for a long time, so I keep a pretty close eye on it. Yeah, you don't mess with Brazil when it comes to soccer.
No. Well, even when they, I don't know if you guys remember when they had the NFL played some football games down there.
Yep.
They couldn't wear green in any of the jerseys. Like it was, because it's Brazil Stadium. They don't want, and no green. Mm-hmm. Except for them.
Is that because Brazil's green colored, or like one of their rivals was green colored?
It was a local team stadium that was the rival wore green, and if they were worried that if they wore green to the game, then there'd be like some sort of violence.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I get passionate over sports sometimes, though.
Yeah.
But,
A good soccer movie, if you Green Street Hooligans. It's got Elijah Wood in it. It's about awesome. It's like old school grindhouse, almost like hooligan soccer days.
Yep.
It's fun.
Also coming out here this weekend, we got Jerry West, The Logo. Like I said, also coming to Prime Video here. It's really just kind of a big day for sports fans who have Amazon Prime, I guess. This one deals a little bit more with basketball, however, as this documentary shows the last interviews that were ever given by Jerry West, who died back in 2024. So yeah, I don't follow basketball really as much as well. So a lot of this I didn't know. How familiar were you guys with Jerry West at all?
I knew he was the logo and he played for the Lakers. That's kind of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really follow basketball very closely.
Yep. I don't either, but I've heard of Jerry West, and I knew it was the logo, so it was it. Cool.
I do find it interesting some of the last. I feel like we've seen this a few times here. Some of the last thoughts of a person. It just so happened to be a documentary. It wasn't necessarily planned, but ends up being put into one of their last documentaries or whatever here. So I'm curious. I wonder, as like an editor, if you now instinctively just leave more of that in than you would necessarily if the person was still around.
Probably.
That kind of pads the runtime or whatever.
Yeah.
I would guess so. I mean, I know Netflix has their own little series going through, like they released after Jane Goodall died. They've got their own series of like these last interviews of all these people that will come out after they die. So I'm going to assume that it's kind of in that same mentality that they have with Jerry West there.
Yeah. That's not a bad like business idea either. Like if you know, this person's like 80 something, not doing too well, let's go interview him quick and then we can put this out 2 years later.
I always figured that's kind of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Watch Mojo on YouTube.
Yeah.
I always kind of figure they kind of do that because I feel like whenever a celebrity dies, it's like the next day they have like top 10 moments of this person. I'm like, did you have the inside track or did you make that a while ago and waited?
Yeah.
Or are you just that quick at putting it together? I don't know. I've always been curious about that, though.
They've got a big board, and it just tracks all like the
It's just
older
like-
celebrities, and it like counts down.
Oh no, Morgan Freeman tripped again, guys. Let's make sure we get that one ready to go, just in case. I don't know. But let's move on here to Friday, April 17th. Here, the big weekend, where we got some pretty interesting ones here as well, including I'd say the big ticket item here, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. This one's coming straight to theaters, rated R. Not to be confused with the Brendan Fraser Mummy series, which they are making a new one, though, which is why this is especially confusing.
With Brendan Fraser?
Yes, him and Rachel Weisz.
So it
coming back.
actually is happening.
From everything I've read, yes, that is confirmed.
That's
I
awesome.
think that's coming out next year, I want to say.
Love it.
Might be later this year. I can't remember. But yeah, this is why they had to put in the Lee Cronins in front of it.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't get confused. This is actually technically the 5th iteration or a movie that has the title The Mummy.
Yeah. There's a lot.
I did a little research on this. The very first one was 1932. That was part of the Universal Monsterverse. And then 1959, they rebooted it. That's known as the Hammer series. The third one is the Brendan Fraser one. That's the one people are most familiar with. And then we got the Tom Cruise one. We don't need to talk about that. And then this one here.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I still need to see it. I'm going to watch it this week. But
It wasn't good, but I don't think it was that bad.
The way they did Jekyll and Hyde was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm done with this movie.
Because that was Russell Crowe, wasn't it?
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. But they were really trying. That's when they were trying for the
That's when they were trying to do the shared universe.
And I think that'd be sweet. The dark universe. I would love that to have like classic Frankenstein and they still might do it with Invisible Man. That's been good.
But that's been their only win.
Yeah, there was another
I
one
can't
that
even
was
tell
good.
you the other one because it was such a hard loss.
No, Wolfman. Wolfman was good.
Okay, Wolfman was fine.
good.
Yeah, Wolfman was
Invisible
fine.
Man was good. They're all gonna. I think the Mummy. We'll see. We'll see.
When you position it as like a big Tom Cruise movie, and then
it failed. I'll say that. Yeah.
All right, but let's talk about this one here, the one coming out this year. This one shows a family that has to deal with the fact that their daughter had been missing for 8 years, but then is found alive, but not completely the same. Like I said, kind of mummified here. I'll be honest here, this one looked like one of the most terrifying movies so far of 2026. Are you guys big into horror Do you watch a lot of those?
Oh.
Yeah. So he's the outlier here on this
Yeah,
one.
I love horror. And I think it looks really good. I think that's a different take on the mummy where she's not actually like dead and came back to life as a mummy. She just never died and is mummy-like, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think it looks interesting. It's a new take. It's got the guy from Midsommar. I don't remember his name, but he's in there. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be good.
I think it'll be very, very well made. I will not be watching it because I can't handle it.
It definitely looks interesting. I feel like I'd be maybe gonna try it, but we'll see.
Just because it's kind of a different iteration of a mummy, kind of like the mummy as a character is a very well known thing. We've seen versions of it in cartoons and all that. Now we've grown up. It's time to see the more adult versions of it and everything like that. It's always like 5 to 10 times more creepier when it does involve a kid. Like that's where a lot of like the Paranormal Activity movies sometimes did a little bit better, is when it involved kids. You know, you had some of the, you know, Conjuring films involve kids or whatever too. Even if the kid's not necessarily possessed yet, it just is a little bit more creepier here. Now you have the kid in the little girl voice being like, "Haha, grandma, it's okay." But yeah,
it'll be weird. I don't know if I like the voice really, but we'll see how that actually plays out. Because there's been movies where they play the voice or something in the trailer, and then when you watch the movie, it's different. And I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
Let's move on here to what is quite possibly the most normal movie of the weekend, and I mean that both literally and because the movie is named Normal. Every once in a while, I got to sneak in a really bad joke too. I feel like this one's coming to theaters, but it is also rated R. This is an action movie set in a small Minnesota town, so we can all relate to that. Let's a little bit here. A little representation there. Basically, a new sheriff is coming to town here. He's just trying to have a quiet life. However, things get turned upside down after a bank robbery attempt goes a little wrong here and everything. So, we got Bob Odenkirk, excuse me, doing another action movie here set in Minnesota. What do we think about this one?
It looks like it'll be fun. I do think it's kind of funny how Bob Odenkirk has shifted so harshly from comedy to now do these action movies.
Yeah.
Well, he's kind of done two shifts because he was kind of comedy when he was writing on SNL and everything. And then he kind of did dramatic with Better Call Saul, and now he's kind of going to action and everything. Like, yeah, if you had told me one of the writers of SNL, Bob Odenkirk, would become an action star how many years later, like, I'd been like, what are you we're talking about Bob, right? Yeah. Bob Odenkirk, not a different Bob, but anyways, I don't know. The vibe I got from this one here was basically Hot Fuzz, but in Minnesota. Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to hear the tropes and like the stuff that they do. Like, do they bring up the hot dish? Do they bring up you don't, you betcha, like some of that stuff. So
I felt like we got a little bit of that in this trailer.
Yeah, and I could have seen a different trailer too. So yeah, it'll be fun.
If they bring up too much of that though, it will literally drive me nuts.
If they don't say "ope" at least once in this movie,
yeah, somebody's coming.
Yep. The bank robbery's going on. All right, I just need to sneak on past you to the cash register here. Excuse me. But yeah, very similar movie to Nobody. Speaking of action, I believe it's the same producer who worked on this one as well here, though, as well. So, I think it's one to kind of look forward to here. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here we got Mother Mary. This one's also coming to theaters here. A big pop star reconnects with her old dress designer as they try to put aside their differences and move forward. And that's possibly the most tame version of this summary I could have ever written. This is where I feel like this is the second one for this week. I feel like I've had to really scale down because I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah, well, and this one's an A24 movie,
yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. So you know it's going to be wild, off the wall, demonic-esque. It's, I'm pumped for this one. I think it's going to be sweet. And I think this is low-key dig at Taylor Swift because she may or may not be a monster. You never know.
Okay, so I was going to mention that later on, but elephant in the room, I guess we got to bring that up. I did actually see an interview where Anne Hathaway denies this is about Taylor Swift.
She wants to be on Taylor Swift's good side.
That being said, this was like produced by Charlie XCX, who has like a beef with her right now. So
was it really?
It's like a minor beef, but it's a thing.
Or Charlie XCX produced it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she like wrote some of the songs in this. This is like original music too in this.
Oh yeah, dude, that's Taylor Swift. Confirmed.
I'm not allowed to say anything. My girlfriend's a big Swiftie.
Big Swift, yeah.
You can take a back seat on this one here. That's all right. That's all right. We'll just censor it later here. But any other? What are some of our other thoughts on this one in general here? Like I said, I don't know how much I want to get into this one spoiler wise, but
I think
It was definitely an interesting trailer to watch. It looks intense.
it's an interesting concept too. Like the making the dress and I don't know. It'll be fun.
can I just say how weird it is that if I had a nickel for every Anne Hathaway movie came out this year that had dressmaking part of it, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
What's the other one?
We got Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out in like a month.
Oh yeah.
Like a couple weeks from now, actually.
Yeah.
It's just weird how that timed out, I feel like we missed a chance of a real crossover here. Like, why not just push it a week for like right before, and then we have 2 weekends in a row of Anne Hathaway fashion show stuff. I'm just saying promotion would have been easier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the 2 main stars here, like we said, we got Anne Hathaway. We also got Michelle Coel, who I believe was in Black Mirror, or at least a few episodes.
A couple episodes.
As well as Black Panther 2. So, last but certainly not least, we've got Bus Boys also coming to theaters here, also rated R, starring David Spade and comedian Theo Vaughn, who both also wrote this movie. They star as 2 guys trying to figure out life, so they become waiters. Well, actually, they become bus boys so they can try to become waiters because they believe waiters have all the perks in life. I will say this movie is doing more for the service industry than most movies. They are giving waiters the credit that they so very often do not get.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So I got to give it that positive.
All right.
It's about the only positive I can give it, though.
Well, I like Theo Vaughn. I like David Spade. I'm hoping it's funny. It should be funny.
I wasn't even aware David Spade was like still active.
Still acting? Yeah. I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it was like, oh, this is actually really good, and I worked really hard on it, so I want to make it. And Theo Vaughn's funny.
I will say, I guess I'm not as familiar with Theo Vaughn, but I will say to the whole thing of David Spade not being in as much anymore, to quote the man himself, "Look, children, it's a falling star. Make a wish." For those of you who get that reference, good on you there. So just saying, karma comes back to bite people sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have any of you guys ever worked in the service industry?
I have made a point not to.
I was going to say, did you at all? I didn't know if...
I have not.
The closest I was is I worked at a museum, which I had to be a tour guide, but then we'd also have to run the gift store a little bit every once in a while. Didn't run into too many crazy people there, but from the horror stories I have heard, people who've like been waiters or whatever, like it's pretty bad out there. Like respect to people is at an all-time low, I feel like right now.
I worked at in the service industry, and I loved it.
That's because
I had a blast.
You love people on a level unknown to most humans, and I wish more people were like you in that aspect. But
there was a few bad things that happened, but I loved it. It was fun.
It's kind of the same in retail too.
Oh yeah, I suppose retail.
Bad. People are just horrible to people.
Yeah. But on that happy note, let's wrap up this episode like we usually do with some number 1 recommends here. This is the part of the show where we just kind of talk about things we've seen recently, or maybe a book we've read, TV show, any piece of entertainment that we recommend other people check out here. Abby, you want to kick us off here? What's something you've seen recently you think other people should see?
The only thing I've really seen recently was Wicked Part 2, and I highly recommend anything Wicked. I got to see it in live theater, and I loved it, so I was really excited for when the movies were coming out.
Nice. Very cool.
So usually when we have SMSU Theater on, I try to make a point of wearing my Wicked t-shirt, but it's in the laundry right now, unfortunately, so I only really got the one, unfortunately, so hopefully next time. Alex, what's something you recommend in here this week? Alex, why do I was just about to say Alex. Why do I have Alex typed here?
Like, who's
I must have been talking to Alex or something right before we did that. I am so sorry. Wow, that's going in the blooper reel for sure.
Because you looked at me. I'm like,
you had
talking to me.
I first interpreted your look of like I got nothing, and then I was like, wait a minute. No, I'm the idiot.
I've been recently watching the Superman the Animated Series from 1996. I'd just gotten done watching the Batman the Animated Series, and I'd never seen the Superman one. So it's actually been a lot of fun to watch that one. Just kind of take a look back at what Superman was in the 90s. It's really interesting and a really good look at it.
Cool.
As a DC Comics fan in general, I don't know if DC Comics has ever been better than in the 90s with a lot of the animated stuff, especially, really. So
Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. I wish people talk about Marvel, I'm like, I miss those days. Because I was like a kid when all those shows were coming out on Cartoon Network. I was like, I didn't know how good I had it. Didn't know how good I had it. In the interest of getting names wrong here, apparently, Reynold. Why don't you?
That works. That works. So over my hiatus, I watched Nuremberg. Absolutely fantastic story. Obviously, it's about history, so you'll be able to try the trials of Nuremberg with World War II bad guy generals, I'll say, so we don't get demonetized. I don't know if you can say that on YouTube or not.
Probably not.
But, yeah, Russell Crowe plays... I can't think of his name right now, but and it's got Bohemian Rhapsody Queen's
Rami Malek
in it, and it's awesome. It's really good. Kind of just gives you a different perspective of how they went about approaching how they were going to try all of the bad guys at the Nuremberg trials. And if you like history, check it out. If you like Rami or... and actually, Russell Crowe does a pretty good job with his accent. At least I thought it was good. I didn't think it was bad, so it was fun.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Once again, make sure you check out Tartuffe over at the SMSU Theater. Showtimes, again, are this Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. And then the final chance to check out the show will be 2 p.m. this upcoming Sunday. I want to once again thank both our guests for being on here today. I look forward to seeing you in the show here this week. And for myself, Abby, Peter, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.